Okay, this is a 5-day update to the Polar Vortex Secret Disclosure DBAS aerosol video, which basically proved that we're getting sprayed with aluminum trifluoride and the super flammable aluminum sulfate and aluminum trichloride. And this is the configuration they've tried to keep for months on end to keep heating the Arctic and freeze out the U.S. beginning November 1st. So immediately after my video went out, they suddenly stopped that differential buoyancy aerosol spraying and allowed this low pressure to come straight east into California. And some people in California commented that it was raining in San Francisco. They didn't even predict the rain was going to happen, and it didn't show up on the radar. And it's because apparently the Air Force generals ordered Evergreen or whoever's spraying this stuff to suddenly quit. And they did, but now we have a new situation going out in the Pacific. So here you can see November 3rd in the evening after the video went out. Suddenly it's raining in California. Isn't that just amazing? But now, a few days later, they've reformed the persistent high pressure. So after they let this low pressure here go into California, they grabbed onto this jet stream segment, and now they're holding it in place, but they're not spraying it with the toxic aerosols. Now they're going back to the ionospheric heaters again. This is the giant microwave beams that come from Navy ships. So let me show you evidence of that. So here it is, November 16th, visible light mode, and we can see we're back to the same square one that we were for all these months. This Pineapple Express coming from Hawaii, going straight up into British Columbia. And so I do not believe that they're spraying the aerosols right now, because I can actually see ionospheric heater activity right here. There's a gigantic oval with 4 concentric rings. So let's have a look at that. So Hawaii's down here in the lower left. And if we zoom in on one of these peaks here, this is right at daybreak, visible light. It's very early for the ionospheric heaters to be operating because there's not much of an ionosphere right as the sun crests the horizon. But here is an oval shape. I mean, it's just a really symmetric oval, and we'll step through. Each one is 5 minutes. We can see the oval expanding. Expanding. Now we've got definitely 2 concentric rings. And you can see now it has a really nice oval profile. And then at one point here, we actually have 4 concentric rings right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means there were 4 separate pulses of air downbursted here in the center. And I think this cloud top stuff is photoshopped in, but maybe not. Here's a let hole. So we'll go into the future some more, and this outflow boundary expands. It's maintaining an oval shape, and then just like all the HAARP downbursts, it clears out in the center. So that is right here, northeast of Hawaii. Now, there's some strong low pressure here in the middle atmosphere, and what that would normally do is it would cause this straight line to start to curl counterclockwise. And then you lose this straightness, and then you have another low pressure that goes straight east into California. Not what they want. So that, I think, is some pretty good evidence. And then another odd thing happens on this same straight line the next morning. So they've successfully maintained the same configuration, and I looked at the overnight infrared images. I didn't see anything suspicious. No straight lines or anything. So it really looks like Air Force said, whoa, is that what we're really doing? will hold, put a stop order on that. And they did. And now the Navy stepped back in and saying, oh, well, we'll take care of it. By golly, we're not going to let these 7 billion people continue to live on this planet. So this is what I'm trying to point out here. As the sun is rising, we see sort of a crescent here. Here's a crescent. And then in the next 5 minutes, look what happens. So this is definitely a crescent of clouds. Oh, it's gone. So what happened there? We have this suddenly going down, disappearing, and this showing up. All these others, they're just being illuminated as the cloud tops. So that shows me that there's some photoshopping going on in this. It's northeast of where it happened the day previous. The day previous it was here, and now here it's up here. But I believe that is some photoshopping. So we don't know what's going on there. But let me just walk you through it again. You can see sun's rising, poof, disappears. Back up, sun rises. So there's something really odd going on there. And yeah, again, here we've got powerful low pressure building there. And they've, to prevent this from curling up counterclockwise, there's got to be some kind of intervention there. So just a bigger overview, you can see going forward, I mean, there's just definitely a discontinuity in this picture here. That something odd happened right there. Because these other clouds stayed pretty much normal, but these that circular shape seems to have really gotten edited or something. But this also shows that we can know whatever we want. It doesn't matter to them because they're not going to stop. You get the Air Force or Evergreen or whoever's spraying to stop, Navy steps right in and takes over again, which is what they've been doing all these years. And incidentally, so they're blasting a hole in the ozone layer right here or down near Hawaii, and we can actually look at the ozone layer and the movement. So we're looking at 10 hectopascals, which is 26 kilometers in altitude. And if we just have a look, and assuming that the hole in the ionosphere is up here somewhere, so there's some damage, there's some high ultraviolet that's going to be traveling off towards California. And who knows how long that mixing or that repair process may take. But this is what U.S. Navy is doing to the Pacific. They're helping to kill it. And this is why we've got to go and exercise our force, our power. And that means, number one, stop flying in airliners. When we consent to 100,000 airliner flights every day, we are consenting to the deliberate killing of our planet and our own families. So if we are not mature enough to make a small sacrifice, like using ground transport, that's not nearly so harmful, but airliners are just like big diesel engines. They spew out nitrogen oxides at the worst level of the atmosphere, which are hundreds of times worse than carbon dioxide. And this is 14 years ago, so things are much worse than that now. And number two, we can watch Roger Hallam and listen to his advice because we have the power, and it is our actions that are being used against us to exterminate us. And I personally feel like I'm one of the people in steerage on the Titanic down at the bottom of the ship, and I've just noticed, hey, my coffee cup is now sliding towards the bow of the boat. Maybe we should do something about this. And had someone thought they could have saved the people on the Titanic by, lighting a fire on the top of the deck, because the California was only 10 miles away, whereas the Carpathia was 4 hours away. So right now I'm saying we are in steerage on the Titanic, and we've just now noticed that the bow is sinking. Now this man has a plan, so I highly recommend that you listen to what this brilliant and courageous man has to say. Thank you for listening.